My name is Jessie Dulesky. I am the guest experience manager at the Lakes Resort.
I want to learn about the organization you work for. What the name again, please?
So the Lakes is a golf club and resort, and we're located in Benyon. We employ about 75 people through the busy months.
Okay. Can you tell us about the values of the Lakes Golf Resort?
The values of the Lakes Golf Resort. So we are a very busy operation, and I feel like perhaps the values of the Lakes are not, maybe I could say they're not up to my standards. I feel like we're a growing operation. I feel like we're in a real movement period. We have a new general manager, and I feel like we are growing. We're getting to a point where I can be proud to say that we are making our employees feel valued and feel like they're an important part of the team. Where maybe, I've only been there since the end of June, so it hasn't been a long period, but we're into the second general manager in my small period of time. But I do feel like values are something that are becoming far more important as the day goes on.
That has answered the third question that I was about to ask you. How do you communicate with other employees?
We have
You as a manager.
As a manager, so we have many facets of communication. We communicate through email, through phone, through text a lot. We have a scheduling app on our phones, 7 Shifts that we use, and there's a communication tool in there as well. And we have another communication app. It's called Slack. So we have many facets. It's very interesting for me. I had previously run my own business, and I had never owned a cell phone until, embarrassingly, 3 years ago. So a lot of this is very new for me. I'm not used to having to have my cell phone on me all the time and always be prepared for all of these facets. So it's a lot.
So what do you think you can? What is your perspective on that?
I feel like it's way too much. I feel like especially with the younger generations, I feel like we're losing that person-to-person, eye-to-eye contact in the run of a day. There's so many things that can be missed when we're communicating through text. Phone is a little bit different, but even that, I find it's much easier now to text somebody, or if I want to speak to all of the front desk employees, I send a group text and I send all of the same information to all of them at once. And that's very convenient, but I feel like we're losing that personal touch when we only communicate through electronics.
Can you give an example where there was a miscommunication, and how did you deal with it?
I can, and I'll use you as an example for that, actually. Tenny had a situation where she felt she was being treated, I won't go into the details, but not treated as she expected to be treated. And we had a discussion around one facet of that weeks prior, and I had noticed poor Tenny just was sad and not her usual self, and it kind of was going downhill each time I saw her. So one day I made a point of stopping, and we went outside in the rain and in the cold, and we had that conversation, and I asked Tenny to let me in and let me know what it was, the basis of what was bothering her. So after she had let me know everything, how she was feeling, I went to the other manager and had a discussion with her. And as it turned out, how Tenny was feeling, the manager was shocked and was unprepared and had not been. It's hard to tell this story without going into specifics. However, she hadn't been feeling the same way that Tenny thought that she was. So I connected the two of them and said, you both really need to sit down and talk. And that kind of cleared the air, and you were able to foster a healthier relationship together and move forward. Where the other manager also was new, so you hadn't really had a chance to
know each
sit
other, yes.
and talk. And I think both of you discovered how beautiful the other one is that day. And it was wonderful to see that. I'm so glad that worked.
It was. Yeah, yes. I want to ask your suggestion or insight on how do you think individually that we can improve at the lakes? Not just the managers, but even the employees. Everyone. How we can improve? It could be in terms of interpersonal relationship, communication, and stuff like that. Or teamwork.
It all comes down to being a team. The more, I mean, no one wants to put into something if they don't feel like they're getting out of it. So if everyone were to work together as a team, we would all feel valued, and we would all come out of there feeling like we've gotten something out of it. I know me personally, I have no vested interest in the business. I just go in there to work, but I love when everyone comes together and gets excited about moving the furniture, for example, or whatever it is, and the camaraderie that happens when you're not just doing your regular day-to-day task and you're outside of the box a little bit. And I'm in an interview. Please don't. Just come back in a little bit.
One piece, Mom.
I've lost my train of thought now. Interruption from children.
Yes.
Okay, we can. This is my 3 additional questions. How do you think the lakes is diversified?
I feel like the lakes has probably come a long way from where maybe it once was. I feel like we have a long ways to go. We do have a little community of folks from India working out there. We do not have a super diversified workplace. It's not something that we've ever necessarily discussed in the hiring process. Anybody who's come in, I hire them if I like their attitude and they like to smile. I think those things are very important, but I feel like in the climate we're in right now, it is something we need to pay far more attention to. We were discussing earlier, I don't know if anyone with special needs has ever applied, but certainly we don't have any employees with special needs that I know of. We have one Indigenous woman. We have one African woman. I feel like we're doing a very good job on the gender front, but not so much on the cultural front.
How do you think do you think there is a plan, or is it something that they can, incorporate into the hiring process? Like some companies, even in their application in their site, they will specify that they consider Africans, they consider the gay, or LGBT and stuff like that. Do you think the lakes can go down that path?
I absolutely do. I think there's just so much growth and so much potential in that place. We have such a long way to go in every facet of the business. And I think that's something that we need to work on. I really do. I think our new general manager has really brought his whole heart into this place. And I feel like we're taking a blank slate, a box, a basic building, and we're starting to slowly infuse the personality and the personal touch and the care into the place with the team that we're building. I think it just wasn't something that they ever really considered. I feel like the place itself has changed hands many times. We've had a huge turnover in managers and accountants and all kinds of things there, but I feel like we're on the right track. And now we have to start thinking about the people that we're employing. They're not just numbers. They're not, there's so much value in training your employees properly and keeping them versus just bringing in a batch for the summer and then everybody gets laid off and then just hiring another batch. Like how does anybody ever feel valued in that situation or feel like they're wanted? Like, there's just such a long road to go in so many facets. So yes, I absolutely think it's very important to create a plan to hire a more diversified workforce and to really think about that rather than just hiring whoever comes in the door.
I've worked with the Lakes for, I think, since August, maybe that's like 3 or 4 months. I want to ask, how do you motivate people that work under you, your employee?
I lead by example. I would never ask someone to vacuum the floor or mop the floor or move out, whatever it is, without doing it myself. I feel like as an employee, to see my boss lending a hand and doing something makes me feel like, oh, I'm not the only one asked to, whatever it is, clean the toilets. We were discussing earlier about the first wedding that Tenny had worked was also our new general manager's first day of work. And Tenny mentioned how after the 12th hour...
Please go ahead.
After the 12th hour, Rick had said just a big thank you to everyone and how much she valued that. And, even for me, watching my boss come in on his first day and he's scraping plates and he's serving tables, things he's never done before, there's so much worth to that. And none of us, I think we all worked 12 to 18 hours that day. It was ridiculous, but we all wanted to see it through because we were such a good team that day.
And that was actually for him to, come and appreciate everybody and also, do all the odd jobs with us was a motivation for a lot of us there.
Absolutely.
Even though we were tired, but it really motivated us to not give up and go on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jessie, for answering these questions. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.